Today I'm going to be making a raised ham and chicken pie. I'm going to be using raw ingredients today, but bear in mind that if you've got leftover chicken, turkey, ham, whatever, you can also cut that up and use it. It wouldn't be a problem at all. This recipe would still work really well. I'm going to be making one large pie and I'm going to be making some small pies as well. So let's get started. First of all, I have my chicken, and all I'm going to do with that is cut it into some bits, just large bits, using my board, and I'm putting this in my blender or my food processor. Oh, that one's come off my nails there. There we go. Just cut it into big pieces and pop it in. Now, for this recipe, you only need two fillets, two large fillets. I'll put the weights up because that's easier for you. Now we're going to blend this, but not until it's a mush. We're just going to do it a few times to chop it down, that's all. I'll show you when it's done. There we go. How quick is that? Because we want pieces of chicken. We don't want great big lumps. Now, if you've got ham or bacon, you need to chop that down as well. So, as you can see, all I've done is broken it down a little bit. These are not, it's not mush. You can still see chicken in there. To that, I'm going to add some bacon. Now, these are lardons, and I've got about 200 grams of lardons. They need to be fatty, so if you're using leftover ham, just make sure you include some of the fat as well, because we need that to keep that chicken nice and moist in there. Now, the only other thing we're going to add to that is a teaspoon of salt. And some pepper for seasoning. Here we go. About half a teaspoon of pepper. And then we're going to mix this all together. Usually I get in there with my hand and do this, but that will be fine. So all we need to do now is combine all of those ingredients. Not much at all. This is all stuff you'd probably have in your food cupboard. So that is done. We're going to pop this to one side, covered, so that it all sort of melds together. We've made our filling for our pies, which is over here. I left it in the fridge for a little while, and now we're going to make the pastry. So, in my saucepan here, I'm using lard, but actually you can use hydrogenated vegetable oil if you prefer to. In this bowl I have my flour and I have salt. There's no baking powder in this at all, that is it. In here I have water, which I'm going to pour into my saucepan so that I can melt this together. Once this has started to melt, turn your temperature up, because what you need to do is bring this to a boil. Then I'm going to turn my heat off, shoot all of my flour in, take it off the heat and get stirring. There we go. and get all that flour incorporated into that dough. Right, once it's in, I'm going to tip this into a bowl and I'm going to get a lid on it because I want that to stay nice and warm so that I can use it in a moment. I'm going to show you my beautiful dough. There we go. Now I'm going to keep the lid on it while I'm working because once this goes cold it becomes quite hard to handle. So I'm going to flour my surface a little bit. Now I'm going to make one large pie, and this is a 7-inch 19 centimetre 20 centimetre tin. So I'm only going to take about half of this out and put it here. Now you'd think that would be hot, wouldn't you? But actually it really isn't. And it's like Play-Doh, it's wonderful. You don't really need to oil this at all. Flour it very much. Now, this is where it gets tricky, but it doesn't matter if it breaks. I'm just going to whack it in. Whack these pieces in. It almost seemed a waste of time rolling that out, but look at this. All you've got to do is squidge it like Play-Doh. Wicked. While it's still warm, and just work it around the sides of your pan. Now if you've got two hands, you can easily get that in there. I'm obviously a little bit awkward because I've only got the one hand, but it really doesn't matter. Just make sure you get your tin covered. There we go. I'm going to take the bits off, fill any gaps, and then we're going to go onto the bottom of this and fill it in. Then using your fingers, literally, just shape it in. Make sure you've got it covered beautifully. Even with all those little bits, just fill it right up and then smooth out the bottom. Now you can see while we're working with this, while it's still very oily and warm, because it just makes it really easy to work with. Then we're going to fill this with our mix. Now what you don't want to do is pack it in so it's really tight, or it'll just be like a solid lump when it's cooked. What you want to do is just very gently make sure you've got a bit of everything and just ease it in. Don't squish it down because this will cook down anyway. Look, I'm getting it everywhere. Comme d'habitude, as they say. Right, you just want to fill it to the top of that layer there. I have in here a beaten egg, just a beaten egg, and I'm just going to wash around the edge of that, just so that it's a little bit sticky. There we go. And then I'm going to plop that to one side because now I need to make my top. Little bit of flour. And you don't need lots for the top. You can always pick it off and put it back in here. There we go. Using the flat of my, oh, there's my rolling pin. just want to make it round about the size of the top of this tin. Here we go. Now see if I can get this up in one piece, because that should be interesting. Right, just make sure it's not stuck. And I'm going to flip it onto the top and squeeze it at the moment. Just try and get that a little bit over. There we go. See how easy this is to work with. I absolutely love this pastry. It really is the easiest pastry I've ever worked with because it's so forgiving. It really is. Now I'm going to take a knife and I'm just going to trim the edge. I'm going to put it back into my bowl. Because I'm going to make some little ones as well. There we go. So just trim it. There we go. And you can pattern it if you want to. Now I use the edge of my knife, and all I'm going to do is go all the way around, making a little pattern. You can use a fork, whatever. If you've got the ability, you can pinch a lovely pattern on this too. There we go. That's my little pattern around it. The last thing we're going to do to this is give it a really thorough egg wash. Be generous with the egg wash because this is the only wash this is going to get. It won't get another one. Look, can you see how good that is? How generous that is? All the way round, all the way round. There we go, put that to one side. Now this is going to go in the fridge for at least an hour because I want this pastry now to be really nice and firm and cooled down before I cook it. Now I'm going to use my little bits of pastry because these work beautifully as a little buffet pies as well. So here we go. I'm going to flatten that with my hand because it's really not worth using a rolling pin for. And I'm going to cut out a circle. And I'm going to do something a bit odd here. I'm going to take some of my meat. There we go. Flour my hand. And then I'm going to roll this up and make it into a ball. There you go. So it might take a little bit of time, but just form it into a ball so that that meat is encased in that pastry. I don't want to put any more pastry on this. I just need to work it, and this is why you work with it while it's still quite firm. There we go. Last bit encased, and pinch it together so that it doesn't come open. Quite a tall one. Make sure it's not come apart. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Right, now I'm going to do something really odd because this is my mooncake crust. Now, generally, mooncakes are made in the autumn, but I think these make beautiful buffet pies. Really impressive. Here, over the top, and push. and hold just for a minute so that you get a really nice imprint on that. Then to lift it, and there we go, beautiful. And then pop it on your tray. Right, let's do another one. Not too thin. Get rid of that mould. Oh, got the wrong one. There we go. Cut out a piece. And that can go back in here. I'm going to just spread it out at the edges a bit, and a dip in the middle. In goes my filling. Squidge this together a bit. There we go, and here we go again. Flour my hand. I'm going to make this much wider here so I can hopefully roll it. Just squidge it so you've got a big bit that you can meet over the other side. Again, if you've got two hands, this is actually quite easy to do. If your pastry is drying out a bit, don't worry. Just hold it in your hand. Put your mould on. There we go. I'm not doing too shabbily here. Press it down because we want that imprint, and of course this is starting to cool down a bit. Oh, and the tops come out. But look at this, beautiful. Right, I'm going to carry on and finish off making these, and then I'll be back. There we go. I've got some beautiful little pies there that are going to be fantastic for a buffet. All it's left to do now is to egg wash these, and again they'll go in the fridge just to chilly down. Well, here is my beautiful chicken pie. I chilled it down and then I put it in the oven, 180 degrees, for 1 hour and a quarter for this big one. These little ones here were 30 minutes. And don't they all look wonderful? I'm very, very pleased with these. Look at that. Beautiful. Well, I'm saving these ones for later on because I've got visitors. And this we will be eating over the next few days. Now what I will say is I've frozen a big one of these and some small ones that I'm going to keep for Christmas, and they freeze beautifully. What you want to do is take the pie out. If you made a big one, take it out the night before you want it and just let it defrost. What I tend to do is wrap these first in greaseproof paper, then I wrap them in foil, and then I pop them into a freezer bag, and they are fantastic. As I said, you just put the meat in gently, because what tends to happen is it packs down anyway. So if I'd have packed that down in the first place, that would be absolutely solid and probably won't be able to cut it. Well, there's nothing further to do than to taste test this. So first of all, oh, I've broken it already. I am not good at all this thing. I'm going to try the meat first. That is wicked. That is perfectly seasoned. That is perfectly seasoned. The amounts that I've given you are spot on for seasoning. Also, you get this lovely sort of jelly stuff that came out of the meats, out of the ham, etc. That's why we used a sort of fatty ham. But this is wonderful. Just like pork pie pastry, this. That is good. That is absolutely brilliant. I'm going to eat the rest of this for my lunch. Well, if you liked what you saw, have a go at this. It's not hard. And as I said, this is like playing with Play-Doh. It is wonderful. These are brilliant for cold meat, cuts, buffets, whatever. And these little ones, I think, are wonderful. I absolutely adore these. I think those patterns on top are great. If you've got the patience to do it, they are going to look wonderful on a table. Anyway, if you like what you saw, please like, share and subscribe to see me making more delicious, homemade, affordable food. Thank you for watching.